why you should watch Isekai Maou, and why it's the trash you love. "1959, the year of our Lord and Savior, Shonen Sarutobu Sasuke, or in American, Magic Boy, the first fantasy anime. And if it's not the first, then close enough. It was made in 1959, being the first ever Japanese animation to be released in North America. As you can tell, it still has that same anime shape and feel to it. And honestly, it looks pretty good. Even though it's not the most plot-driven, filled animation, it's still very impressive for the time it was in. We fast forward to 1993, where we get the first harem series, Tenchi Moyu. This is the classic, wholesome grandfather harem anime of a boy surrounded by a lot of girls. Before this, we had just ichi animes or hentais. And from this combination of fantasy and we got isekais. Modern isekais are frankly the most popular and the simplest anime you can make. It's really as simple as copy and paste. Just take a character and put them somewhere they haven't been before. And just like that, your dad went to the store and never came back. This makes it new and exciting for everyone, for the actual characters and the audience. Everything is new. But while fantasies / isekais historically do well, harems do not. You remember Tenchi, right? I know if you look at the score, it makes it seem like harems do, generally alright. Well, that's a lie. Harems have never, and I mean never, until recently, been considered good. Take my anime list. The dictionary of all the animes that have ever been made, basically. You don't go to Wiki, you go to my anime list. And from the time of 1917 to 2021, there has only been a total of 4 harem animes with a score in the category of 8. And of course, when I say this, I do mean there's not a single anime considered in 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. So keeping that in mind, 8 is the highest here. So let's look at the 4 animes here. 1 being literal yaoi bait, and the others 2 being one of the most compelling stories in the last 15 years from a romance scene, and 1 having been the best to do it in the entire history of harem mangas that literally came out this year of 2021, that being quintuplets. Being one of the most wholesome harems since the originator of the genre, Tenchi. You see, harems are usually, and don't even get me depressed on the ending of that anime.
Nope.
Don't even get me depressed, okay? We're gonna just move on to other harems, okay? Focus, Barry. Jeez. You see, harems are usually seen as trashy fun that we can all enjoy and take pleasure from. And that's right up my alley. You see, all we want to see is just some big-ass anime titties, legs, and the special place called
絶対領域
known to all degenerates as absolute territory. Now, the show that has impacted culture more than any other and has a full roster of S-tier waifus at their disposal. I can only be talking about one anime, that being...
Yo, what the fuck are you doing? That is not the anime you're supposed to be giving to the people. We're talking about the second or third or fifth best one. What are you doing?
Not my bad. I totally forgot. We're talking about How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. How Not to Summon a Demon Lord is one of the animes I still put on my degenerate list. You see, it still meets all the criteria to be considered a harem, and a top tier harem at that. But it also does have some really nice isekai elements into it that could make it challenge some of the better isekais in the genre. And at first glance, I know, it looks like a bad isekai. And generally, I don't think it really been taken seriously at all throughout the entire conception of the anime. But the second season could be more interesting and turn the general idea of the anime around. So, if you haven't watched the first season, I'm gonna catch you up on it really quickly. So, the year is 2018. Cross Reverend is the most popular and best MMORPG game, and Diablo is their best player. Who hates love? Why? You know why. Any affection shown while playing puts him in a total kill mode. So after killing a couple, he wakes up next to two girls who summon him. Keep in mind, he's a total shut-in, so he can't make normal conversation. So in order to talk to people, he has to act like his in-game character, Diablo. But because he opens his mouth, he puts a collar on them. I guess that's someone's fetish out there, but we'll continue. And from this, it results into some inappropriate touching and screaming.
I don't like where this is going.
Finds out that Rim is concealing the spawn of Satan himself. Alright. Finds out this is like a plot twist. Beats a plebeian. Finds out that some breasts are like jelly, and others are firm. We learn that Shira is a princess. He beats her army, but is defeated by Shira's personality, making Rim's tail very angry. You see this? That's one mad tail. Fights another army. Wait, hold on. Fights another army, beats another one after that, meets the Lord. We get another new character and plot fan service. Then he has to fight some strong ass Lord, which was pretty nice, but it was kind of short. And finally we have to face a paladin, deal with Alicia betraying them, and then deal with Rim's demon lord, devil child. I don't know. This makes Rim her mother, right? That's how it works, right? Anime logic. But honestly, up to this point of me rewatching the anime and really thinking about what all happened in the show, Diablo actually has to face a lot more than a lot of the other bad isekais or trash isekais that he's put in the same category of. And I'm being honest, there's actually a list of things that Diablo does in his time in the first season that I would say all the other protagonists don't even get to half on the list. We just talked about another bad fantasy where they literally do nothing. So compared to this, to Diablo, there is no conversation. But I will say it gets a lot of things from like Log Horizon, but it's not Log Horizon. So in Log Horizon, where they're in the same world and it just has a different mechanics and functionalities to it, basically, this world is like the same world, but with more added content to it. So with Log Horizon, you would have to actually do things more by hand in general, and that is like kind of the new mechanic of the game, as well as there just being things that are just hidden, right? In Diablo's world, it's the same game, but like a 0.5 version. It's like having Kingdom Hearts 2.5 or whatever they had, right? You get the same thing, but a point more added to it. That being said, if they took more of a slower approach to it and changed up some mechanics, this would be actual top isekai, I think. And that's what they do in season 2. And that's what they literally do in season 2. Now, from that, you're either just really like into season 1, or you're just wondering why else should I watch this anime? Well, I can give you one. I don't know what it is about some of these new seasons of isekai. I don't know if it was because of 2020 just being a shit year, or they just really liked watching Overlord, because Slime and Isekai Maou are both taking some things away from Overlord. I'd be saying, what do you mean? Well, in the manga, we get some new characters and some more better, darker scenes with Diablo. And if you're already watching season 2, you're gonna notice from season 1 to season 2 a couple different changes, that being mainly you don't see as much in-your-face fan service when there's a fight happening, or when it's more of a serious situation. You're gonna see it right before, but then during it, you're not gonna see it at all. The tone of the anime very much shifts to life or death situations, / harder opponents for more fighting. We see the priest girl who is really stubborn and, kind of useless, but because of her being around, this is getting Diablo into a lot more fights, whether she knows it or not. The first being Bata, the paladin, who is cruelly putting a death curse on his own people, and is the leader of this immoral cult, causing people to just sin in the darkness, filled with all types of debauchery. I know I said the word debauchery and some of my audience members got really excited and had a smile on their face. Stop smiling. In this fight, it was more gruesome than a lot of other fights in the past. I haven't necessarily seen the anime adaptation of it, but I have seen the manga adaptation, and it's pretty good. Like, the pages are really nice. They're not messing around. Next, we're going to be talking about Barkinus, a demon who, at this point, is immensely stronger than Diablo. At the beginning of the new season, we see Bata and Faunus, two highly ranked characters in the show by this point, enough to take out Diablo if need be. And then you bring in Farkinus, who is way stronger than both of those two characters being put into the anime, making it immensely tough for Diablo to even stand against them, to any of them. And at that point, I'm thinking only plot could really save Diablo. Luckily, there is a plot that makes sense though in this case, that puts the show closer on a more serious level to other isekais as well. Diablo knows the world to be like his own game. It had similar but not the exact same mechanics, like I already said. It's like the exact same game, but a little more stuff added onto it. In order to get stronger, he needs to go back to his own dungeon, which he already realized at the beginning that his dungeon is here. He now knows it's located in the game. And from this, he gains a lot more power. And you're thinking that shouldn't be enough to, well, do anything. Well, he was able to not only improve on his own party members, his own strength, but then he added a new person into the party who is going to be very important throughout the story, I feel like. That being Rose, his yandere maid, kinda like Albedo from Overlord, like I already said, who will have a big impact moving forward, because let's be honest, Rem and Shara are cool characters, right? But they're there for fan service. We get that. They're not really made for combat. If you put them in a combat situation, they will die. That being said, proof of that, Rem already died in the first season. Rose is built differently. She's built for combat. And if you want to see in the manga or in the anime adaptation, I suggest go looking in the manga for the scene of Rose demolishing the dragon and the paladin that was following around the priest girl. So, when these two decide to go into the battle to fight Farkinus, he decides to bring along his harem. Farkinus made a huge mistake, like we said at the beginning of the anime. Diablo does not take kindly to any type of love on the battlefield. But still, by this point, Farkinus is still incredibly strong and his harem are very strong as well. In fact, they pretty much are stronger than Vanus, that being shown in the manga. But once Diablo and Rose get on the battlefield, they have no mercy in slaughtering Farkinus's harem at all. In fact, they decide to kill Farkinus's harem before killing Farkinus himself. He makes quick work of them. Lastly, I'll leave you with this. There are going to be more interesting characters and strong characters to fight moving forward. I really do think this anime is taking more of a Log Horizon / Overlord approach to it. Even moving forward, this shows Diablo being more distant to Rem and Shara and being very more calculated with his fight and approaches. He's still putting on that same Diablo character persona, but I think it's going to be a little bit more serious, which is something the series, I think, needs. And from the source material, it looks like there's going to be more time for events and plots to settle. I'm sure there will be more lewd events and lewd moments in season 2, but it looks to be taking a different approach. And like I said, I like that. Coming into season 2, I was not expecting that kind of change at all. At all. Like, I was expecting to see more people added to the harem and just being, fan service all the way around, but it actually looks pretty good. And you can actually pinpoint there is a plot and a structure to where they're going in the anime. And you can't say that about a lot of other harems in general. I will say what I'm most excited about this anime is the big PP energy some of these manga pages have. It's really exciting watching. Mainly, I'll just be honest and say it's Rose. Her energy is just different. Her energy is just different. It's like more of that killing on insight or killing when I see you mentality that she kind of has or brings to the show, and it's kind of rubbing off on Diablo, and I do like it. And up to the point of making this video, there are 67 chapters for the manga. So you can go check that out. I highly, like I said, recommend it. It's not the craziest thing I've ever seen before, so let's cut that out, but it is a nice change to Diablo and to the anime. I don't think there are going to be too many character changes unless it's just with Diablo. And lastly, Horn really doesn't do anything useful in the story. I don't know why she's still in the party. Honestly, she's not good. It was weird adding her. I have no reason they would honestly need her. I think that's a stupid change, but that's my opinion on Horn. Yeah. So I give the anime up to this point a 2.8. Keep in mind, like I said, 3 is where I considered Overlord to be at. 3 out of 5. So it being a 2.8 out of 5 is still pretty high when you think about it. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Thank you guys for watching. BarryAnime out. Peace.